Hello and welcome to our free valuation course, or as I like to call it, the Value of Everything valuation course. This is a free course that I designed around about 3 or 4 years ago. We're now in 2020 as you watch this, or as I'm recording this, it's 2020, but I actually created the program in around 2016, 2017. When at the time I had learnt all of these things at university about valuation theory, about portfolio management, about financial markets in general. And then I'd read books from the likes of Warren Buffett or about Warren Buffett. I read and consumed just about everything I could on the topic of investing. But I was still stuck. I didn't know how to apply all of these principles, all of these ideas about valuation and just the concept itself to an actual spreadsheet for an actual company. So I went in search of different material, different online courses on YouTube that could teach me some of the material that I needed to fill in the blanks of my valuation theory and where it meets practical application, to fill in those blanks and then allow me to go about valuing my own companies. Unfortunately, what I found were some very expensive premium courses and then some, free courses that didn't really help me much. So instead of finding one, I went about creating one. And what you see in front of you now is the valuation course. And I've labeled it as intermediate because I don't think the topics that I discuss in this program are necessarily very difficult. They're definitely not for an absolute beginner, but you might be just starting out investing, have bought shares or have a passing interest over a long period of time, and you've pieced together most of the basics that you need, like how to buy shares and what shares are and those types of things. But this program takes it a step further. This goes from using a spreadsheet to calculate your own valuation ratios, to do a valuation based on a balance sheet. So we'll reconstruct, a balance sheet from scratch to get a value of the assets and liabilities of a business. We'll go through the most comprehensive valuation technique, which is called a discounted cash flow analysis, or DCF. We'll take a case study, which in this case is Woolworths Supermarkets here in Australia, and we forecast the company's revenues out into the future, and then we calculate the free cash flow of that business by going through the income statement and the cash flow statement and the working capital to arrive at some free cash flow figures, which we then discount, and I'll tell you how to use discount rates effectively, give you some shortcuts to get around the weighted average cost of capital and the CAPM, or the CAPM theory that is applied in academia. And then we'll also go through things like Bruce Greenwald's EPV formula, through dividend discount models, which you can use to value just about anything, including bank shares, which are really popular here in Australia. And then I'll also introduce the idea of an IRR, or internal rate of return. And this valuation is, I see, consistently used by private investors who know what they're doing, as well as many professional investors. I see this as kind of like a common sense valuation model. In any case, we'll get stuck into the details of that soon. The following video that you're about to see will take you through some of the big picture ideas of valuation. I talk about things like asymmetric return profiles and what that means and what you should be looking for. We talk about intrinsic valuations and just the theory behind it. Don't worry, it's not a very long video. We'll get it done in around about 5 to 10 minutes, but it's really essential so you can comprehend what we're actually trying to do before we jump into the models. A great thing about this valuation course, The Value of Everything, is that it comes with downloadable templates. You can follow along as I go through the spreadsheets, and you can even see the annual reports. I've put links in and all the different documents and resources that I've used to piece together the valuation model. So you can follow along as I go through it. You can do your own formulas and recalculate things or update things as you see fit. A common question I often get asked is, what's the difference between the valuation course, the value of everything as I call it, the valuation course, and my Value Investor program? So the Value Investor program is not free, but the valuation course, which you have in front of you, is free. The Value Investor program, as you might recognize already, I said that this valuation course was created years ago. The Value Investor program is my up-to-date, full, comprehensive program. And the difference between the two is that I created this one more recently in 2019, and I created the other one about 4 years ago when maybe I'd been investing for 3 or 4 years. Now, I've since gone and interviewed Australia's best fund managers, I've interviewed private investors, I've done more research, I've done more education, I've invested more, and I've compiled all of that information into a Value Investor program. So we have one that's free, which is the one that's in front of you, and the more advanced one here. That takes you through what I would say is the other 90% of proper investing, successful investing. The value investing principles that are used by sell-side analysts, portfolio managers, buy-side analysts, valuation experts, all these different types of people who have an involvement in the financial services sector. So that course combines all the qualitative research. So I go through management and critiquing management, looking at incentives, where to find information both in Australia and for US companies. I go through the valuation models in much greater depth. So we go through things like multiple ways to calculate working capital, different types of industry analysis, assessing competitive advantage or moats, and the things that you should be really looking for, because that's so important when you're investing. And I also go through something that's really important for me, which is psychology and the types of attitude that you should take into investing successfully for the long run. Anyhow, that's the Value Investor Program. This is the free valuation course, which I call the Value Everything. It's not necessarily one or the other. What I would encourage you to do is take the free course, knowing that it was created quite a few years ago, but take the free course. It's free, and you can get a taste of the type of material that I can offer. And then if you are willing, take a look at our premium course. The free course is awesome. It is all the nuts and bolts. It takes you through so many different valuation models, step by step. It's very easy to follow along. Like I said, it's free, so give it a shot and let me know what you think. You can always find more information about me or about our business and our website and other courses on our website. Thanks for tuning in.